Book 22 of 2020 was Surprise Me by Sophie Kinsella. This book was awful. I would not recommend reading this book. I don't think that I would ever have selected this book to read personally for myself. I was given it as a present for my birthday, I think, and I don't really understand why I was given it, because anybody that knows me knows that this would not be something that I would enjoy reading. I do wonder to myself, like, who Sophie Kinsella has in mind that would actually read something like this and enjoy it, because it single-handedly sets back female equality by decades. Like, the suffragettes would actually be turning in their graves. The main character is called Princess Sylvie, and it's strange because she's really kind of like infantilized, and this woman is the same age as me. She's 32, and I'm just like, I would never behave the way that she's behaving, so it just doesn't really make sense. And I understand that she's got a different kind of situation, but still, like, you don't get by 32 years of life and still behave like a child. Essentially, like, this main character Sylvie, she's really pathetic. Like, she doesn't, you know, she's married. I think she's been married for 10 years. She's got 2 daughters who are twins. I think they're about 4. And it kind of all starts off where she goes to have like a checkup at the doctor's, which I don't know why you would need one at 32 anyway. Like, I've never been to a doctor's checkup. And the doctor like says to her that she's going to live for like 60 more years or something. Oh no. Yeah, I think it was 60 more years, which is a bit ridiculous because that would mean that she's 90 odd, which is unlikely, but anyway. And then she starts to freak out, and her husband starts to freak out because they can't imagine like being married for that long, like as if that's like a massive thing. I mean, I understand that couples might go through this, and maybe Sophie Kinsella's drawing on her own experience, but honestly, like, there's, you know, first world problems. And she's kind of obsessed about this. She gets it into her head that she needs to kind of like do these surprises to keep the marriage alive. But there was nothing wrong with their marriage before that. Like, it just didn't really kind of make any sense. And then, like, she's basically like in a job that she doesn't really enjoy that much. She doesn't really do much while she's at the job. She like dresses to like kind of almost benefit her employer, because her employer's a bit, I mean, her employer's actually quite a good character, how she's written. So she kind of like dresses kind of like girly for her. And then she doesn't really do anything. Like, there's nothing about her. She's got no hobbies apart from, she mentions offhandedly that she goes to a book club, which I think is Sophie Kinsella's way of like trying to hook in the readership, because obviously they're reading and they're obviously going to be part of book clubs, and her book's probably going to be discussed at book clubs, so, you know, make the main character like books. But then she talks nothing about books, and at one point she makes a reference to Kim Kardashian, and I'm just like, seriously? Like, yeah, we know who the Kardashians are, but do we really kind of like them still in our 30s? I don't think we really do. Maybe in our 20s, but, you know, you kind of outgrow stuff like that. And then she's got this kind of perception of her dad, who's died, as him being like this kind of, you know, amazing person. And it turns out he's an arsehole, and everyone can see he's an arsehole, and yet she seems to be blinded by that. And it's like, you're 32, like, you know, you learn at about 8 years old, about 10 years old, what your family are really like. Like, it doesn't take a, you know, rocket scientist to figure out like what her dad was like, you know what I mean? She's just comes across as an idiot, and yet she's got like an art history degree. And Sophie Kinsella kind of drops in like words as well to show that she's a little bit educated, but they come out of nowhere because this character is not intelligent. Like, she's not at all. Like, she doesn't come across that way at all. And she seems to have this kind of thought process that the only way to, you know, please her husband is to kind of like dress up in like hooker clothes and have sex with him, like the way to a man's like, not obviously a man's heart, but because that's saying a man's heart through his stomach, but like her version is just to have sex with him and she'll get what she likes or whatever. It's just bizarre. It's like so strange. It's like, and there's this obsession with the way she looks and how she's got this blonde hair that she's never cut, and it's like literally Sophie Kinsella is like basically saying, in order to be worth anything, you've got to have like a good body and, you know, nice hair and look good and be sexually attractive to your husband. And then there's this woman that her husband gets kind of back in touch with, who he used to date, and then she gets obsessed and think that he's having an affair with her, and it turns out that he's actually helping her family, and her dad's like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's so farcical, and I'm just reading it going, what the actual, like, it's so boring. It's just like, you know, a complete sexist view of a husband, because, you know, the idea is that he's got nothing to him apart from wanting sex, and she's absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just like, are there actually people like this that exist in the world? That, because honestly, she's an absolute sap, and I hated reading about her, and I was just like offended the whole way through that, like, there is more to women than what is represented in this book. Like, this is why, you know, misogyny exists, because of women that behave like this. And I'm just, yeah, it was awful, and I will not be reading any Sophie Kinsella books ever again because it was awful.